Hey, this is Amy Baldwin, and I am giving you an overview of our final exam for ACAD 1300. And I'm sharing with you some of the updates that we've made and also some of the requirements that we're going to put into place. So if you are watching this video, you may want to stop it right here and grab that those documents that I sent. I sent a rubric, I sent some questions for the exam, and then I gave you also access to kind of an overview and information. So the overview and information about the exam is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try to be brief about it so that if you don't want to read all of the detail, you can at least listen to this. I call it the TLDR, too long, didn't read. Here's the summary of what you're going to see. So first of all, just to give you an overview of what I'm going to talk about for the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to review the new guidelines and requirements for the ACAD 1300 final exam. I'm hoping to preempt questions you may have about the changes, but if I don't and you still have them, email me. I'll be glad to share with you responses, answers, figure out whatever it is that you have a question about. And then we're going to discuss the updated questions and the grading rubric. So if you have taught this course before, especially if you've taught it since fall 2020, this is not new and it's not going to be majorly different. But for those of you who are brand new, this might be a, oh boy, I wasn't expecting all this information. Good news is you've got plenty of time before the final exam. So I'm going to share this screenshot of Tyree. He is now a graduate of UCA, and I've done this in other videos, but it just hits home the importance of what this course does and how it can affect students long term. He graduated with honors. He got a nursing student award, and he did all kinds of amazing things when he was at UCA. He credits ACAD 1300. I don't know if that is truly the case. I'm sure there are many other things that influenced him positively, but I'll take that. He really did point to that course as kind of the foundation for his success in college. And so that's what we're here for. That's what you're doing. And that's probably why you wanted to teach the course. So let's just talk really briefly about the end game, which is what our course goals are, what are learning objectives, and what are those essential questions that you're going to want students to be able to answer. And that's kind of how I designed the course. It's also how I designed the final. So it all aligns. So you may be familiar with our course goals. They are included explicitly in a course description. They're also explicitly written in our course learning objectives, but also there's an implicit goal, and that is often gathered through sometimes course reputation or some of the feedback that we get from students. And really what I want this course to do is equip students with those strategies, habits, behaviors, information about resources that are going to help them succeed in college. And really that's it. That's all we want to do, which is, it's a big task, but it's something we can do. So generally speaking, we're hoping to increase students' college knowledge, improve their self-awareness, so what they are doing and doing well and want to continue to do, but also what they need to work on. And that's where I think this course can be really helpful. We're going to help them refine their academic and personal skills and use resources to support success. And by the way, if this is repeat information from something you've seen in other videos, you can skip this, fast forward, but it really is essential to kind of remind us where we are, I think, and start with that foundation. So if you're not familiar with the learning objectives, they are in the course syllabus, and those are what drive our course and drive our assessments, and in particular, drive our final exam. So I call them the essential questions. They are really the exam questions, and these are the ones that have been updated. You might notice just a little bit of language difference and maybe notice some differentiation between the two different questions per topic. So if you think about organizing your course around these topics of these units, And if you think about the content that you are presenting to students or having them work through, all of that content should align with and help students be able to answer the questions that are listed here. And again, you should have a copy of this list of questions. If not, pause it, stop it for a second, go back to that email that I just sent with this video, and you can grab those and look at those. So let's talk a little bit about the requirements. Now, this is new. It has been kind of implied or suggested in the past. Now we're going to get to where we need to have this happen. So first of all, the exam needs to be given during the regularly scheduled final exam time for your course. So not the last week of classes. Not any time before that, before Thanksgiving or whatever. Even if you have things planned or you think that you want to do something different during the final, I'm asking that you provide this final exam, and I'll show you kind of how to modify it if you need it during the final exam schedule. So that's really important, I think, to the essence of this course. It needs to be given in person, not needs to, must be. So unless there is some extenuating circumstance that you need to address with the chair, Leslie Gomes, or me, this is the requirement and the expectation. So students come to class for those 2 hours, they work on the exam, they finish it during that time, and they go on their merry way. So to make this happen, I'm going to suggest that you can use Blackboard, which I've done, and with incredible success. Everybody brings a laptop, they write the exam, they can do it in Google or on a Word document, but they submit it through Blackboard or a piece of paper. So if a student does not want to use a computer for whatever reason and feels more comfortable writing it, they can do that. But one or the other needs to be. I don't know what the other alternative would be other than one or the other. So those were the requirements. And here's some questions that you might have. Now, I'm going to go in depth in the document that I shared with you. So I'll just hit the high points for this. And again, if you have additional questions, things that I did not address, feel free to let me know. I can add them later to the document and share those out. So first of all, why is there a final exam in ACAD 1300? I thought this was supposed to be a fun class. The reason is this is a core course. It is in responsible living. It should have the academic rigor like other first-year courses. And a final exam is essential to helping students understand this as a process and an experience. And that's what this course is all about, right? So that's one of the reasons. Another is it gives me the opportunity to pull data for assessment so that I can see where are we falling short in terms of content, where could we strengthen things, what are students knowing really well, and probably we can back off of. It just is a really, really helpful tool and to be able to do that. Why do I have to give the final during finals weekend in person? I kind of alluded to this earlier. Students need to learn how to read a final schedule. It is not easy. It is incredibly difficult for students that are not familiar with it. And they need to learn how to prepare for schedule, get to a course on time, a place on time, take that exam, and go through those motions. We know they're going to have a variety of different ways that they are going to be tested at the end of the semester. Some do comprehensive, some do unit test only, some do take home, some do projects. We get that. I know that. But this is an opportunity for us in a kind of a closed environment to help them with this kind of skill building. And it just makes it easier for them to then navigate later on. Why do you encourage just use Blackboard for final exam submissions? Because then if you use Blackboard, you don't have to do anything else. I can download the data. But that's okay if you don't. We'll work with you and make sure that you get your final exam to me so that I can use them for assessment. But it's just easier. Why are the questions subjective or open-ended rather than objective? That may be a question you have. Why can't I just do a multiple choice test, grade it, be done with it? You will have plenty of opportunity to teach them how to use study for and take objective test questions. Maybe you give quizzes, Maybe you'll give the midterm. I always give a lot of objective test questions in the midterm because I'm teaching them how to prepare for that, how to study with that knowledge, and then how to analyze how well they did. It does not have to be onerous in terms of grading. In fact, if you follow the rubric that I'm going to show in just a minute, it actually can be really easy to grade these quickly. And so students need that extra practice. I'm finding that they are not really well versed with subjective test questions, and they know it and they need practice preparing for it. And so this gives them an opportunity to do that. Can I share the questions ahead of time with students? Absolutely. Give it to them the first day if you want to. I've done that before and just said, here's your final exam. This is what we're covering all semester. You can have it and start working towards answering those questions at the end of the semester. Can I show the students a grading rubric and offer suggestions? Absolutely. You can show them model examples. You can walk them through how to build an outline. Sometimes I've done that with pairs or groups where I give them one of the test questions and ask them to create an outline, and then we all critique it in class. These kinds of things are really, really helpful, and I encourage you to do those if you have class time to do it. Instead of asking students the question to answer all the questions, can I choose one from each topic so they can answer them more deeply? Absolutely, you can do that. And I tried this out last fall and found it was very, very successful. What I did is I gave them all the questions and told them I was going to choose one from each topic, so they needed to be prepared to answer both. And I found that this was significantly rigorous enough that they prepared adequately, but also helpful to them in terms of being able to prepare in the way that they need to. And do I have to use the rubric to score the final exam? You do not. That is going to be used for assessment, but you may want to. It's going to be fairly straightforward, so you're welcome to use it or modify it how you need to. So some general suggestions for the final exam. Students may bring an outline or notes with them to use while writing. And in fact, I'm going to encourage you to require that they do or suggest they do. I don't know if you can require, but you know, I don't want to take points off because they didn't come up with an outline and they still write a beautiful exam. But it really does help, especially when you're going to have students who are English is not their first language. You have other students that are not getting accommodations, but need to kind of decrease that anxiety a little bit. And I think it's totally appropriate and is part of the preparation process that they bring an outline. You can and should, as I said before, walk them through how to answer one or more or all the questions to show them this is what I'm looking for, this is what I expect, this is the depth, this is the number of examples. They need assistance with doing that, because what will happen if you don't and you're not explicit about what you want is they'll write a couple of sentences. And for a comprehensive final exam, a couple of sentences for 6 questions or 8 questions is not thorough enough to demonstrate knowledge over the whole semester. So think about that. If you choose to provide only one question per topic, I'm going to encourage you to create different versions of the exam. Even if you have just one section, you can have it, Form A and Form B, or version A, version B. Just ask students to properly label what they answered so that if you're not sure, you know which form it goes to. So here's an example of a Form A. Now, this was created last fall, so the questions are just a little bit different, but you can see that I am very clear about what I want. They're writing an essay. An essay has 5 paragraphs. Tell me the specific details. Let's get going on that. And I need the content to come from the chapters that we covered, not just general knowledge stuff. So I was very, very clear about that. I need to see that you read the book, you listened to the lectures, you did the activities. So that was very, very important. And anything else that you want to add to kind of prompt them a little bit, if you want to adjust those questions, you're welcome to do that. This is an example of the rubric. Again, you should have a copy close by if you don't have it with you or not pulled up. I'll show in just a second what these looks like, but notice there's a lot of words on this, and really it's just to show you how it all fits together. But what you want to pay attention to is the question, and it's tied to the topic. So this one is topic 1, and it's the first question. So it's A. And I just copied and pasted the question. And then I wrote some parameters or guidelines around what would fall below expectations, what would meet expectations, which means C, B maybe, and then what would be excellent work. So you can assign points to this if you want to, however you want to do this, but just to give them a sense of what their target is and what they need to be doing. Again, more explicit, the better. And the more that you can tell them, that's why I tell them 5 paragraphs, is because I want to see 5 well-developed paragraphs. So I'm going to show you really quickly these documents. So the first one that you should have access to is the instructor information. It shows you what I just talked about, and you can use that as a reference. I also have included the final exam questions with some comments in there to give you some ideas of what you might want to do to tweak it if you want to. And then I give you an example of the planning document that I used last semester. And so you can kind of see, this is what I gave students, and this is what we worked on in class. And then I created a Form A and a Form B, again, based on questions from last semester, or last fall. So if you want to use this, you'll want to update the questions. But I just want to give that to you for an example. And then this other document that I wanted to make sure that you had your hands on is the rubric. And you're going to see that it goes through and includes all the questions. So again, I'm just showing you the course objectives that we are meeting with these questions so that you can see how everything aligns. So that is it. And I appreciate your time and hope this was helpful. Let me know how else I can be of help, but I'm so excited to have you teach the class, and I hope that this gave you a good overview of what the expectations are and how best to serve the students by the end of the semester. Thanks so much.